Hey guys, welcome back. This is Ferocious Gamer here, and today we're going to be doing another guide from League of Legends, this time on Annie. And I would like to point out really quick that I never intended to have such a delay between my guides, and in the future you can expect them to come out a lot sooner than they have in the past. And so we're going to start with the pros and cons as usual. First off, she has a really great last hit with her Q. This allows her to have a strong mid lane presence. Her passive allows you to stun an enemy champion, which is great for ganking. Beginning at level 6 when you can summon Tibbers, this is really just a phenomenal spell that can add to your burst damage and change a fight. She scales really well into the late game, and no matter how bad you do, she always seems to have some sort of role, which can't be said for other champions. So the disadvantages of Annie is that she doesn't have a whole lot of mobility outside of Flash. You might find that it's really difficult to get away from enemy champions, and your own ganks really depend on your timing of your passive. And once your load, as I say, has been blown, and in saying that I just mean your burst damage, your stun, and your ultimate, you don't really have a whole lot to work with. In terms of masteries, you can see I'm just going all out offensive. You want to maximize her offensive ability. Going with Flash and Ignite here. Flash is absolutely necessary for mobility, and Ignite just for that little last touch of damage. And so with your runes, you again want to maximize your damage potential, and I love magic penetration, I love armor penetration. I think it gives a heck of a lot of damage, especially in the late game, so I do that with the marks and the glyphs. The Seal of Clarity is just to regenerate some mana early on. You see that I switch up the glyphs. I do 6 of Force, just to help scale with your late game, and 3 of the flat magic penetration, just because too much magic penetration isn't always a good thing, and your quintessence of potency is just for early game ganks. And so in looking at Annie's skills, you want to pay attention to her passive, because this is really important. After you cast 5 spells, her next spell will stun the target. And obviously this only works for Q, W, and R because your E isn't a damaging spell, but you really want to time this, and you really want to pay attention to the number in your taskbar where you're at. And so in looking at our Q here, Disintegrate is just a single target nuke. This is just a fireball animation, and you can use this to last hit creeps, and I would highly recommend you do this, especially in the middle lane, is just auto attack the enemy champion and last hit with Q, because it's one of the best ways to last hit in this game. Your W is Incinerate, which is essentially a cone of fire in front of you. E is a Molten Shield, which is going to increase your armor, increase magic resistance, and it's also going to reflect some damage. Well, not reflect, but what I mean is it's more of like a thorns type of spell, where if you're hit, it will damage the enemy. And this doesn't seem like a whole lot of damage at first, but in the late game, if you're up against a Master Yi and he's dealing an insane amount of damage with a really high attack speed, it can really add up on him. And Molten Shield is really, really good to build up your stun count. And so lastly, we look at Summon Tibbers, which is your ultimate and one of the best spells in this game. And so what happens when you use your R is Tibbers, a flaming bear, is just going to pop down on top of wherever you target, and it is going to do, first off, some burst damage when you place it down. It also has an area of effect over time, damaging spell, so keeping it around enemies is always a good idea. I personally like to use my stun with Summon Tibbers, just because you can area of effect stun a whole group of people, and it's also got good range on it, so you can always land that stun. And so of note here on Annie's items are the fact that you want to get that Rod of Ages pretty early, and I like to get it right after Sorcerer's Boots to let those bonuses build up. And right after that, I like to get a Death Cap fairly early, and a lot of people don't agree with this, but I like to take that risk because the payoff is humongous. I mean, the amount of damage you do once you get that item will let you destroy their entire team. It can end a game early if you can manage to get it. And in the late game, I definitely like getting that hourglass. Reason being, as you build up and as you're doing more damage, inevitably the other team is going to try to focus you down. So what you can do is just use the hourglass. You come out of it and you use your ultimate and you use the stun, and it completely changes the game, and in all likelihood every member of their team is going down at that point. So I'm just going to show you a couple clips in this guide, not as many as my other ones. Basically for this, I just want to show you the art of last hitting and of harassing with Annie. This isn't probably my greatest game, but you can see what I'm doing. You can see Kassadin is wasting a lot of mana, wasting a lot of time on me. I don't think I can take him down. I'm not going to harass him too much. I don't think he can take me down at this point either. All I want to do is last hit those enemies, and so that's what I'm doing for now. I'm biding my time, just getting my gold in, and watching him try to take me down. I've got a health potion. That's all I need if he takes me down a bit low, and I can start turning the tide on him. And so yeah, as you can see, just some auto attacking, just using that Q, trying to last hit as much as I can. I don't get every single one. If you have really good timing, it certainly helps, and it takes a lot of practice to get to that point. Yeah, I get pretty low here. You can see he's used a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to take me down, and he's not going to get me. That early health potion is there for that, and at this point I'm starting to feel a little more confident in my ability to take him down. So you'll see me, well actually I don't think you'll see it here, but I do end up starting to use my Q and my W a little more on him. And I think, yeah, see right here, and then you'll see that eventually it gets to the point where he's getting a little too far in, a little too cocky, and right here I catch him for a second though. I don't have my ultimate yet, and so I just take him down low enough, and right here you'll see I get my stun ready, and I don't think a lot of people expect as much burst damage as I do right here. You try to get an auto attack in, you get your Q in, you get your W in, and you get that ignite, and it adds up to about half a person's health at the beginning of the game. So at times where you're dominating the mid lane, if you auto attack a few times and you get someone to that point, definitely go in for the kill. But if you're having trouble keeping someone below 60 or 50%, then it's usually not worth it. And so these are the final comments here. I think one of the more important things with Annie is, again, I'm going back to this, but you got to monitor your passive. You got to monitor that number you've got going, because that really is the essence of every gank you're going to pull off. You're going to find it very difficult with Annie without that stun, because that stun allows you to set up your Q, your W, your R all in sequence, lets you get a couple of auto attacks in, lets you get that igniting, gives you that time and that freedom to do everything you need to do. And the rest of the points here are pretty self-explanatory, and I've outlined most of them throughout this video. One of the things a lot of people don't know about is something called Smart Cast, which is in the game, and essentially you're just holding shift down and going through your sequence of spells. If you're not perfect on your timing, you've got a slight delay, this allows you to cast things immediately after you've cast the previous spell. So what you can do is you can line up your Q, your R, your W, whatever sequence you want to be. I usually do RWQ just because I like to summon Tibbers for the stun, get your cone off right away, and Q's got a bit more range, so you want that as your last spell. But you can do this and you get a great combo, and you don't really sacrifice any time. It can usually end up in a very, very fast gank. So I'd recommend everyone use it if they're having trouble with their timing. And last, I just want to point out that you should adapt to the situation. You're not always going to be able to carry, but luckily Annie has got those stuns, and she's got that area of effect burst damage that, even if she's not a hard carry, she can still provide a good amount of damage and some good utility. And so that's it, guys. Thanks for watching this one. I always take requests on future guides. I had quite a few people mention Annie, so that's why I did this one. Hopefully in the future guides I'll have a little more footage for you guys, maybe some more clips of each skill. Had a bit of difficulty with connection issues this week, so if you like this guide, if you found it useful at all, please subscribe, please like it. I really do appreciate that, and have a good one, guys.